what better way to have the name of God sort of set this up? I didn't even know that when he first started talking to me. How many of you actually knew that there, God said, this breakthrough thing is so important, I'm going to call that part of my name so I can show up for my people in a fashion or mode of breakthrough, just like I show up for them for healing and salvation. And, how many names are there? I'm not even sure. But I got goosebumps from it, and I still get goosebumps because I've pretty much committed my life to do this. By the way, I'm Dr. Matt Mannino, who, who's here for the first time and hasn't heard myself or Nick or Ben. So thank you. Give them a round of applause for I don't know what I'm doing here. For trusting. I just don't like the cord flopping around. Yeah, let's do that. I want distractions. No, I really appreciate you guys coming out. It's a family event. Keep it clean. I'm glad I wear my thong underwear tonight. So.
It's a family event.
Sorry. You're going commando. So no, really, this is this breakthrough thing is really there's a part of your head that says, I need that, and I think this would be really cool. But the real part is Ben sort of brought up. There's this heart thing that is scared to death right now around this conversation of breakthrough. So I really appreciate you just being here, because that tells me that there's something within you that's more committed to change than letting this part of you sort of keep you out of the game, right? So yeah, we're excited to be here. How many of you have been to some personal development classes or courses or events? Most of you, okay. So, this is a really cool environment, and I want to acknowledge Ben and Kara just to be open. I think he mentioned called us strange. Did you hear that? Yeah. I was a little triggered. I'm calming down. I got to process myself. But this is definitely not church. It is not a churchy conference. It is basically, as I say, it's sort of the best of both worlds. If you in personal development, I mean, I'm here today because my personal development started real early. I was I got injured in a football game. And so much so that it just pretty much took me out. So I went from the star running back dude making touchdowns and scoring goals to sitting on the bench. And in high school, maybe I was the only one, but basically I identified my beingness, who I was, by what I did, running this ball around, right? So, and because I couldn't do that anymore, I was nothing. I was nobody. I had no purpose to live, and I was, 18 years old, right? So my mom, in all her wisdom, tried to help me through this. What can you say, It's just like, unless I'm running the football, there's nothing you can say or do to help me get through this trauma, right? So she got me this book called The Power of Positive Thinking. Have you heard of that one? Sort of like the Bible of personal development, right? And the intent was to sort of help me through this really, tough time and, all the depression and stress, everything that was going on. And it had the exact opposite effect. Because what I got out of this book was everything you think about will happen. Every time you say something, especially if you repeat it over and over again, it actually shows up in your life. And the stories weren't all that pretty. The one that comes to my mind was a true story. It happened in England. This gentleman had a daughter who had just this terminal illness. And they had did you hear the story? Had a terminal illness, the doctors had no idea. It happened a while ago, but they had no idea what she was dealing with. The best they could do is keep her comfortable as she's dying, right? She was in a coma, machines and everything. And the dad, it was a single father. His daughter was everything in his life. This dad, every time someone, how's your daughter doing? How's she doing? What's this situation? He's like, they don't know. They can't tell me anything. But I would give my right arm if she would be healthy. I would give my right arm to see my daughter get out of that bed and, be free of this thing. Every time someone would ask, he would repeat, I would give my right. Have you heard that one before? Yeah. Over and over and over again. True story. So one night, driving to the hospital, horrible rainstorm. He got in a major car accident. They brought him to the exact same hospital that his daughter was at. And after he came out of his concussion and, was awake, the nurse that was taking care of him basically said, we got some good news and we have some bad news. And the bad news is that during the car accident, you lost your right arm and we were unable to save it. But the good news, and we have no explanation, miraculously, your daughter is out of her coma. All the tests are completely negative. She's standing in the hallway waiting to see you. True story. And I read this thing and I'm like, oh my God, everything I think and say is going to happen to me. And at that time, I didn't have a whole lot of pretty thoughts, right? Because at that time, I was like nobody, and, sitting, trying to figure out my purpose, and became a prisoner to my mind. A prisoner to these negative thoughts that just go over and over and over again. My mind was controlling me, and it wasn't that pretty. And this stayed with me until I actually went to chiropractic school, when everything changed for me, because not only did I get saved in that experience, I was also set free from my mind prison. Because as I was learning and understanding about, and that's what I thought I was there, learning about the human body and how it heals and repairs, I was actually learning about the brain and how to heal the mind. That's why the Lord had me there. I thought it was, I'm not crack backs, right? Someone said that earlier, like, I'm triggered. Adjust the spine. But no, I was there to learn about everything you're going to learn this weekend. And I committed and devoted my life to it because I'm thinking, man, if I was dealing with this stuff, maybe there's some other people out there also with some negative thoughts and dealing with fear and worry and stress and depression and anger and all this stuff. And I did. I immersed myself not only in the neuroscience. Anytime anything came up with the brain and the nervous system, I was there, right? But then I also did a lot of personal development, the seminars, the books, the movies, did it all. And what was coming up for me with that experience was that everyone I went to, we're talking, as Ben mentioned, we're talking about God's principles, but no one gave them credit. They would say things like the universe and, the innate within you and anything other than God, and it really upset me. This is where I normally would say it pissed me off, but we're in church, you can ask me not to say it, so. And I was like, what's going on? It's like, and people were getting amazing results and breakthroughs because it was God's principle, but not really finding the power of it. Are you following? And then the flip side was the same too. I was like, okay, well, maybe there's some Christian authors out there that will help me, put this together. And all their stuff, their videos and books and everything was all about the principle and concepts and ideas with no tools. I'm like, okay, great. This sounds great. To be able to actually pray for something and believe it and receive it. How do you actually do that? Especially when it comes to healing and money and all, right? That's the principle. It says right there, and everybody will tell you, right? When you ask, believe that you have received it. But we go to this default thing that says, okay, I prayed, I believe, but it's still not there, so maybe I don't deserve it. Or God really didn't want me to be healthy or, successful, right? So we go, as I refer to it as the human nature, goes into default mode to try to make you feel better of not getting your prayer answered, right? Because we can't question God. We can't question the Bible. And so basically the concept was, all right, there's a principle, but you need an application, right? If I say, go light the building, what principle are you going to look for? Principle? Nick, what's the principle that lights the building?
Electricity.
There you go, right? So is electricity God's principle? Did he create that thing?
Yeah.
But he, did he, it was up to us to sort of figure out how to use it. Ben's flying his kite and everything else, like, wow, I think this is electricity, right? So now there's a principle that's good for everybody. Every human being can use electricity, whether you honor God or not. How many times do you flip the light switch and say, thank God for electricity? Or do you just use his principles, right, every day without thinking about it? Electricity is Nick's going to talk a little bit, is a substandard form of faith. Faith is the extension, electricity is the extension of faith, meaning there's a supernatural principle, force, or power that gave rise to all the natural stuff. Electricity, gravity, strong and weak nuclear forces. Those are the four forces in the natural dimension. Where do you think they came from? The supernatural realm. Nick's going to be kicking that stuff around because we need to bring these two things together. So if your prayer doesn't work, it's because you didn't put the positive into the negative, right? You didn't hook it up right. You didn't apply the principle properly. It has nothing really, and this is what takes people out sometimes, it has really nothing to do with God. He already gave, it's like, again, getting upset with God if your lights don't go on. It's like, well, you're not applying it properly. What do you want me to do? Do you follow? Yeah. And your prayers are the same thing. Your life is the same thing. Everything that's going on right now is simply an ignorance of the proper application. Are you following? Who's with me? Who's getting taken out? Because this is the other sort of the piece of it, was that sometimes, and again, this is why I appreciate the heart of Ben and Kara, because they sort of acknowledge that, again, strange thing, we go about it a little differently, right? And as I was going through this, it's like, okay, I'm seeing all this stuff, and that's why I started my company, Source Trainings, like 14 years ago. I think we were just talking about that. And the intent was, I need to bring these two realms together. Science, the application of the principle, and give credit where credit is due for the creation of the principle. Do you follow? That's what Source Training is about. That's what you're experiencing. The science and the spirit, the application of how to do all this stuff. And there's a lot of ways, but this is what I've invested my entire life on doing. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to create this company and bring all these, let all those heathens out there and the personal growth gurus and all these, personal development, let them know where the real power is with all the stuff that they're doing. And the Lord said, no, I want you to take your techniques, these principles and techniques into the church to teach my people. And I said, okay. You're the one who gave it to me and, the downloads. But guess where we got all the resistance from? New Age people love me. I go to the church, I get tarred and feathered. Because there's this thing called offense that sometimes comes up. In fact, that was brought to my attention the last time I spoke here. Someone left the church because Dr. Matt offended them when I mentioned this idea, this concept of embracing the dark. They mistook it and said, embrace the dark, like embrace the devil and, the evil spirits and all this. No, embrace the dark that's within you, right? This part of you that holds you back. And they were offended. And this idea is like, the more I thought of that, it's like, you know what? That's exactly what I'm here to do. I'm here to offend you. If I don't offend you this week, and I've not done my job, I will gladly give you your money back and give you an apology. Because here's the thing, your true essence, your true spirit, your true light cannot be offended. There isn't anything another human being could ever say or do to you to offend that part of you. Oh, but there is a part of you that gets offended all day long. This is the part that says you're not good enough, that you're not smart enough, that you don't deserve it, that you can't trust yourself, right? That you're not worthy or lovable. That's the part we want to offend all day long. That's the part that's holding you back, keeping you resisting. That's the resistance from all those prayers and things. The principle we talked about doesn't work because there's this part that won't allow it to come back. And it's part of the principle because the Father said, nothing shows up in your life. There's no event, no situation, no circumstance that you will experience in life that doesn't flow from your heart. Flow from this part of you. And what we understand and what we know is that, as Ben just said, there's a light and a dark. There's a truth and a lie. There's a part that wants to fully express itself and fully release itself. And when that happens, love, joy, happiness, peace, all the stuff you're looking for is a result of that release. Oh, but there's this other part that's saying, no. That's way too scary. In fact, we tried that once a long time ago and it didn't work out so well, and we're not letting that happen again. Right? It's this part of you is not out to sabotage. That's the other thing that upset me in personal development. My nervous system exists to protect me, to serve me, to keep me alive. It's not out to sabotage or limit or try to resist my goals and dreams and desires, but it will if it thinks you're not safe. So this whole weekend is about upgrading this part of you. Because believe it or not, we don't even want to get rid of this dark side. It serves a purpose. It's almost like when you go bowling. How fun would bowling be? Is if every time you bowled, you would hit a strike. It didn't matter what you did to the technique, whatever. Every time you threw the bowl, you get a strike. How fun would bowling be? I'd love it. We got some work with you, but anyways, you'll be the first ones I process. The gutter ball. Even though it feels really bad, and even though that wasn't your intent, and the emotions and everything, right, it serves a purpose to contrast against that strike. If you didn't have the gutter ball, the strike wouldn't be as sweet. So we're looking to, in breakthrough, the idea is to reveal, to expose the dark in order to see your light. Because you can't have one without the other. It's like looking at your shadow and you're all focused on the darkness and the shadow, but our goal, breakthrough, allows us to refocus on the light that's causing it. Without your light, without the truth, there wouldn't be any shadow, there wouldn't be any dark side. But there's this veil. The veil is what creates the shadow. Breakthrough is removing that veil. Breakthrough is becoming aware of this protective mechanism that exists for a purpose, but it's time to upgrade it. Because there's a good chance it's not really working for you anymore. Are you following that? So how's that sound so far? How many's ready for a breakthrough? All right, more hands than I thought. Okay, we're doing okay. Cue the video. Let's take a look at what we've got here first.
It's just, there's all this pressure, you know? And sometimes it feels like it's
Lights.
right up on me. And I can just feel it, like literally feel it in my head. And it's relentless. And I don't know if it's gonna stop. I mean, that's the thing that scares me the most, is that I don't know if it's ever gonna stop.
Yeah. Well, you do have a nail in your head.
It is not about the nail.
Are you sure? Because, I mean, I'll bet if we got that out of there...
Stop trying to fix it.
No, I'm not trying to fix it. I'm just pointing out that maybe the nail is causing...
You always do this. You always try to fix things when what I really need is for you to just listen.
See, I don't think that is what you need. I think what you need is to get the nail
See, you're
out.
not even listening now.
Okay, fine. I will listen. Fine.
It's just, sometimes it's like there's this achy, I don't know what it is. And I'm not sleeping very well at all. And all my sweaters are snagged. I mean, all of them.
Yeah, that sounds really hard.
It is. Thank you. Ow!
Oh, come on. If you would just...
Don't.
Try to see things my way.
All right. So take a minute, introduce yourself to a few people, and talk about what you just saw. Go. You guys are all, you're laying down a great foundation of what we're working with. The fleshly part, this part that we're looking to offend, is so committed to avoiding pain. The neuroscience research says that there's a part in your brain that will drive you to stay in your existing misery and your existing unpleasantness and discomfort versus taking on potentially more and letting this go. That is more threatening to this part of you, not your essence, not your truth, not who you really are. So we're working on this dance of these two natures, your higher nature that brought you here, knowing that we're as long as there's breath in our lungs, we're to grow, mature, expand, release more of who we are, right? Connect with our essence is infinite in its potential. And as long as you're alive, there's more of you to be released. But as long as that resistance, as long as that veil is, you always, boom. I don't care how bad you want it. I don't care how hard you pray for it. I don't care if angels descend upon you and give you, a vision and flowers and doves. If the dark side says, no, that's too scary, it ain't happening. And even if there's a miraculous, how many times do you see, I've had people, ministries, they travel all over the world and healing and stuff. It's pretty cool because a lot of the times these third world countries, they don't have the belief systems and paradigms, and people get healed, the new eyes and limbs, all kinds of wild stuff, because they don't have a belief system that says that can't happen. That is physiologically impossible. And so it happens, right? There's no veil. But then here it happens, and people get a miracle and they see all this stuff. We call it a faith accident because the belief system eventually comes back in and overrides that thing and you lose it. You been there? The miracle, the blessing shows up, temporary. And then human nature steps in. See, you didn't really believe that. You did something wrong. You don't deserve that. It has to justify. It has to make you feel better about not getting what you want. It's also part of the dark side. Because this weekend, we're provoking it. We're challenging it. Is that really true about you? Is it really true that you are not lovable? Is it really true that you have no value, you have no worth, that your gifts fail you, that your talents have no meaning? Is it really true? That's all we're doing. We got to provoke it. And if we do our job right, it shows up. Because it gets real nervous, right? And soon as it's exposed, now we can work with it. But the nail, right? Some denial. So as you said, let's the more important reason to you was to be heard. You'll deal with the pain, but what is the priority in that moment? To be heard, not the symptom. Do you follow? All right, what else? What else came up for you for that? And then we'll start. Go, yes.
Sometimes our problems are obvious to others when we can't see them ourselves.
Right. Yeah, great notice. And that's why this environment is so powerful, because we're going to do a lot of, different exercises that you're going to have a chance to work with other people, right? Nick and I facilitate. I got amazing staff. We've done this thousands of times and helped thousands of people experience breakthroughs, but the person sitting next to you could change your life today, right? And just being open to the Holy Spirit. What's is it her or him? What you brought that up? Yeah. Yeah, is it gendered? The Holy Spirit? He, the Bible says he, okay, because I think of the Shack, the movie, right? And it was a her. But in any event, that's her job is to help you see your heart, right? Because it's really good at hiding itself. It's really good again, it's the dark side. It stays in the dark so you can't see it. Because it operates at the brainstem, at the level of your brainstem. It thinks that if you really found this thing out, if it really got exposed and you actually changed it and upgraded it and didn't believe that anymore, that you could die. This part of your brainstem makes no distinction, it can't tell the difference between you physically die or you intellectually, your identity dies. Right? And so that's what we're looking to offend the perception that this part of you has about you. And unless we don't, there's no reason for it to change. There's nothing you can think, say, and do on your own. Yeah, you can pray. Like I said, this environment, this experience is one way to get a breakthrough, and I like it because it works. It works every time for everybody. And I put my entire life to put into this process. So that's why we can say, you come, you play, you interact, you engage, you'll have your breakthrough. Other than that, there's a lot, other things that can happen. But let's take a look. Let's go through this. What's that? How does that work?
Push that little button there when you want it.
Okay. So breakthrough is just go through, just lay a little context here. Active removing, surpassing an obstruction, restriction, barrier to progress, right? Sudden advance would have been, say, earlier, this explosion. Get that vision of when he told me I saw a dam, right, built around my heart, and breakthrough was cut, right? The flow. There's immediate flow. Abundance, joy, happiness, all that stuff is there. And that's the other thing about breakthrough. It's immediate. You have a breakthrough. Let's keep going. Neuroscience, a visceral somatic event that causes a neurochemical reaction resulting in an elevated state of consciousness, which means, let me see if I said it. You experience a shift in your thinking, in your mindset, that you actually feel in your body. So you can't fake this stuff, everyone. You won't leave saying, I think I had a breakthrough. I'm not sure. Maybe it was here. No, when you have a breakthrough, because it's in your body. It's a cellular thing, because this part that we've been talking about that houses your belief system is part of this autonomic nervous system that some research says it's every cell in your body. So in one sense, you have this part of your brain that you're listening to right now. It's called the neocortex. It's the frontal lobe. It is what sets us apart from all other creation on the planet, because it's this part that allows you to say, I agree with what he's saying. I don't agree with what he's saying. I'm going to do this. I'm not going to do this. It's the power of choice. It's the power of free will. It's one of our greatest gifts. But it only happens here. Research says this other part, this other level of nervous system oftentimes influences this without you even knowing it. In fact, say 95% of everything you think, say, and do throughout the day is coming from this other part. Another reason to understand what's going on. But this shift you feel in your body, and you begin to see things about yourself you couldn't see a moment earlier. Because that's the other thing about this thing. It only thinks about you. This dark side we've been talking about, this shadow, it's really selfish. It only has you in mind, your protection, your safety. And so when you expose it, you see things about you. And there's the other thing that bothered me about personal development. They would say, oh, you have a limiting belief around money, or you have a limiting belief around relationships, or you have a limiting belief about your purpose, blah, blah, blah. No, because your subconscious doesn't know what that is. It has no idea what money is. It has no idea whether you're your husband or wife or kid, none of that. It only knows who. Right? So you see things about yourself. It's accompanied by, these are things that you'll feel and notice in yourself and others. So again, proof that you're experiencing this stuff. Expanded facial expressions, widening of the eyes. How many who's been with me or experienced previous breakthrough know what I'm talking about? Right? Movement, eyes upward and sideways, like, whoa, that's cool. I didn't know that. Shoulders relaxed. It's like I can't tell you, millions of times I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. An appearance of the glow. Some of you may have that tonight. We got a really cool little exercise if I ever get through to it. And tears, right? And those sometimes have polarity. We have happy tears and not so happy tears. Resulting in a conscious awareness of how your subconscious mind has been controlling your life, protecting you from all this change and growth and happiness and joy and money and success. All right? I'm known for saying the only reason you don't have what you want right now is because this part of you doesn't think it's safe for you. It's not trying to sabotage, not trying to limit, not trying to make your life miserable. It just, for some reason, got this idea that more time, more money, more love, more joy, more peace, more clarity, more fulfillment is unsafe. It's actually threatening. So part of the breakthrough process is upgrading this part of your body, your nervous system, your flesh, with a new definition of what safety is. I think I like safety having $1 million in the bank. I think I like safety with, a beautiful spouse and kids and travel, right? That's the really cool thing, is that all the stuff that the dark side is holding back, keeping you blinded from, is just the opposite of what you actually should have right now. Okay? That's another principle we'll get into. So, freeing you from your past, all this stuff, this veil, this lie thing was formed, we'll get into that shortly if I get through it, a long time ago. Okay? Opportunity to upgrade. We don't get rid of your belief system. We don't get rid of limiting or lying beliefs. We upgrade them. Why? Because your belief system exists to do what? Protect you. That's a good thing. Oh, but now let's have it protect your truth, what's real about you, versus the lie. It doesn't know. It's a machine. It's a my brainstem doesn't know the difference between your safety for you means you're a loser, you'll never accomplish anything, and you're alone, versus everything my hands touches prospers, right? I can say that all day long, but if this part of my nervous system says, oh my gosh, we're too afraid of that, we have to keep you safe from all that money, it ain't happening. Right? Just laying the foundation here. So the key is removing the veil. Nick's going to be talking about that shortly. This is, if I had to pick a verse, Ben made sure I used verses and read scriptural stuff because we're in church and things. As water reflects the face, so one's life reflects the heart. You want to know what you believe? Look at your life. You want to know what is the top of the mind, idea, or thought of your subconscious mind? Look at your experience right now. Look at your situation and circumstance. That's another principle. Nothing can exist out here that hasn't first existed in here, right? So we're going to be working backwards through some of this stuff this weekend, right? Okay, let me, a couple more things, and I'm going to bring Nick up. So sometimes people ask, okay, how is this thing generated? I'm just going to read some of this stuff. Where did it come from? 50% of the veil, 50% of this belief is generational, which means it was passed on from the sperm and the egg. It's trapped in the DNA. And this is the study of epigenetics. The Bible sort of confirms this when it talks about generational curses that actually go back 7 generations. So 50% of your veil, 50% of this thing that's blocking your full potential, limiting your ability to express your truth and your light, you were born with. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. Right? Another 15% was between the ages of 0 and 8, where you had no frontal lobe. It wasn't activated yet. So you didn't have the choice to say, you know what? I'm not going to receive this idea you just said of I'm worthless, or I'll never amount to anything, or I'm not smart enough. I think I'll choose not to take that. Thank you very much. You didn't have the choice, so the subconscious was like, okay. It experienced something through the senses that said, what just happened to you means this, and we're going to form a belief system around it. Oh, and that belief system is going to be your operating system for the rest of your life, right? 80% of this veil, this belief system that becomes your operating system for the rest of your life occurs by the time you're 8 years old, okay? And it stays in place, intact, until you have a what? That says, oh, that's what you think about me. Well, time to upgrade. Okay? That's what we're working on. And then another 15%, right, comes from what we call learned response. So there's this, I'll be getting into it tomorrow before we actually experience my breakthrough process. When he talks about the loops of reality. Let me show you this, and then I guess I'm keep teasing, bringing Nick up. So, because a lot of people talk about, this mind, body, soul, right? Body, soul, spirit. Have you heard that combination? Okay, so let's take a look at this and say, okay, we have the body that is the vessel, and then we have this soul thing, and the soul basically is divided into 2 areas. We're going to say the soul is, I call it the surface conscious mind, which is the part that I just said, the frontal lobe, neocortex, and the, what is it? The subconscious mind, brainstem, cerebellum, midbrain. And this is actually not accurate. The best way I could, as far as power of creativity and manifestation, all that stuff, is like an ant and an elephant. The ability for your neocortex, your logic thinking, your ability to analyze and figure stuff out is like an ant when it comes to creating change in your life compared to the elephant of the subconscious mind. One processes about 20,000 bits of information per second, the other 400 billion. So you'd think if you're wanting transformation and change and something different in your life, go to the part of your body that does it. It's not your logic. It's not your thought process. It's not your intellect, your knowledge, your education, or your wisdom. If it was, how's it working out for you? You follow? There's another part of your nervous system that's its job, creative manifestation. Making unseen to seen, invisible to visible, intangible to tangible. Nick's going to play with that a little bit because that's his sweet spot. He likes to bring these 2 realms together and make them really easy to understand and apply, but that's pretty much how it works. But that realm it's really high maintenance. It needs a lot of attention. And you don't have enough here to ever impact that realm to create change in your life. Especially if you got the elephant saying, no, I don't think that's safe for you. The only time it does that, when there is no resistance, right? When Peter walked on the water, was he doing like meditations and affirmation? I will walk on water, I will walk on water. And was he doing visualization? Did he have a vision board about walking on water? Did he have his goals and affirmation? No, it just happened, right? Because there's absolutely nothing in the subconscious that said, this walking on water thing, I don't know. I don't have, do we have a memory? Do we have something painful? Do we have a traumatic past experience? No, so go ahead. Boom. Miracles happen when there's no interference, when there's no resistance. So you want to know why your prayers work sometimes and other times don't? Because the subconscious, like, I don't know, go ahead, whatever. But as soon as you say something that triggers it, and you learn about triggers, that's when it just, no. No. We tried that before. It didn't work out so well. Let's not go there with more money or happiness or love. Are you following? So the surface conscious is your mind and your will, thinking and deciding. And your subconscious is memories and meanings. This is your intellect, and this is your belief. And your belief runs the ship, not how smart you are, not what you know, not that you can rehearse and reverse and recite scriptures left and right, but how your subconscious perceives what you just said. And it's all energy, because your subconscious doesn't even know what you're praying, but it picks up the vibration of the word, and then we'll get into that a little bit. So mind, will, right? Surface conscious, memories, meaning, subconscious. What is the bridge? Your emotions. Your emotions is the bridge between these two realms. When we get into the stuff, that's the first question I'll be asking you. What are you feeling right now? Right? Because we said this stuff is stored in your body too. So emotions, the chemical response, the physiological reaction to it is key to opening the door into that inner realm. Where does the veil exist? Right there, between head and heart, conscious, subconscious. That's why I say, well, where's that belief coming? I don't know. Why does that keep happening in your life? I don't know. Why did you attract that situation in your life? You don't know, because you don't know consciously there's a veil, right? There's a blockage. Subconscious, it's not part of your conscious awareness. That's why breakthrough is so important. We got to remove the veil so that your conscious mind understands what is it dealing with, so I can help it heal, complete, upgrade, show the light, the truth, not get rid of, not get angry at, mad at. Help it. It's like a little kid. It doesn't know that it messed something up about who you are, your identity, why you're here, and what your full human potential is. Are you following? So there's the model. And then, we have this other thing that we won't get into this weekend that opens up. So I call it superconscious, which is your spirit, right? So we have body, soul, spirit. And this is not the Holy Spirit. This is your spirit. This is your essence, your truth, the part that can't be offended, the part that is pure, the part that is perfect, the part that had the conversation with God before you got this thing. You got your body and your soul. It is not subject. It's consciousness, but it's not subject or part of your nervous system. Your conscious thoughts and subconscious beliefs are a function of a fleshly organ system called your brain and your central nerve. Do you follow? Your superconscious existed before the flesh and will continue to live on after this thing is done. Are you following? So that's the part that help also Holy Spirit and your spirit, superconscious, working together to help bring these two back together. Help your conscious mind understand what the subconscious mind has been dealing with, bring the truth and the light into the environment so this can heal, this can complete, and it no longer stops you, limits you, prevents you. It actually assists you. I can't tell you how many times I work with people and the same memory, the same horrible event that caused the veil to show up in their life, blocking their light, blocking their truth, is the same memory now that empowers them. They have to think back to what happened to them to feel encouraged and strengthened. Do you follow? So it's nothing to be afraid of. It's something to invite, something to be open to, something to be encouraged by. Know that everything I'm talking about, Dr. Matt didn't make this up. This is the principle we've been relaying to you, and we have the tools and the applications to get there. All right, so let me bring Nick up. Just a couple of things, though, with housekeeping. No, I know. I think I'm doing okay. You got 10 minutes, dude. Just kidding. Yeah. So just some housekeeping. You mentioned the cell phones. A couple other things. What is said in here stays in here, right? We want to create a safe environment, and things show up, things come up outside of our exercises and our agendas, and so we just want to be open for that. And some of the things that we do, just having that freedom to express it. Breakthrough can happen at so many different levels. Right? So just be open to that and know that whatever shows up stays in the room. The name tags helps us interact and communicate. The time, this is, I got a love-hate thing with the time, because time, we know that some people, right, want to be out on time, you're looking to watch stuff. But here's the thing. When the Spirit is moving and someone's in the middle of like a profound life change, I'm not watching my clock. So I'm going to say that, our commitment is to make sure everyone gets everything they need and then some this weekend. If you need to leave, if there's an emergency, whatever, that's your choice. So what I'm saying is, if we happen to be a little later, early, whatever, it happens a lot. We have a structure, we have an agenda, but are you following? So just, keep that in mind. Lunch is on us, and that's tomorrow. That'll be here in the cafe. It's part of your tuition. We'll have some suggestions for dinner and things, some local restaurants for dinner, because dinner will be on your own. And yeah, we plan on being here till 9. We have a very powerful exercise tomorrow evening. And so historically, some people don't make it back after dinner. And I'm just going to say, do your best to stay in it the whole time, right? Because here's the thing. Your subconscious sort of knows what's coming. And so if you have that urge, you have that inkling, and even though it really makes a lot of sense to you, and you can justify and rationalize why you're going to leave, just be aware of that. Be mindful. Going to have breaks throughout the day. And lastly is participate by choice. Bottom line is, we're going to lay out a buffet of breakthrough experiences, and I'm going to say and encourage you to partake in every bite. But at the end of the day, it's sort of, again, you're still your choice. The more you engage, the more you grow is how it pretty much works. Yeah. Question, go. Got it. Yeah, so we're going to say what happened, the experience was based on your perception. And so you're going to have an opportunity to reevaluate the perception. Okay? Hold on to that. All right, so Nick's up to bat, and Nick, as I said, he brings this very masterful way of bringing these two realms, the supernatural, the unseen, and the seen, together, so that we can actually use them and apply them, and live by faith and live by love, live by supernatural laws, just like they were electricity and gravity. Not even thinking twice about will my prayer be answered, or did I operate in faith properly? Are you following?
That's where personal development got me bad with I didn't believe enough, or I didn't.
Yeah.
And then you feel all hyped up and breakthrough at the thing, and then you crash after.
You're absolutely right. So this is not about motivation. Yeah. No, you're right. And that was the other thing too. It's just like I would experience that, all kinds of breakthroughs and people that, and right back to the same old stuff. Right. Because there's like
make you your God. Like
Yeah.
Do it good enough.
And you don't have that in you to access.
But
And it's like
curious.
withdrawal. Shoot, go.
You talked about apply the principles properly.
Yeah.
It makes me nervous that it'll still be on us doing it properly.
Great.
God
Yeah.
doing it.
So here's the thing. It's so simple. Think of it just like electricity. It either works or it doesn't. It has nothing to do about you, your abilities, your strengths, your talents. You either connect the wires and it flows or it doesn't. Do you follow? So yeah, the responsibility, I'm going to say, is your responsibility to learn and understand. And just like anything else, it takes some practice, right? Because these are skills. Faith and love and hope and grace are laws that we need to practice in applying properly, right? And so again, would you feel really bad and guilty and shameful if you tried to put wire your house and it didn't work? No. Right. So completely diffuse it. It's exact. There is no, and well, let's say if you do, then that's what we work through. Yeah.
I feel some guilt. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, excellent. We're going to play with that. So the principle works for everybody every time, just like gravity, electricity. We just get really good at applying it. And at the very least, the short time that we have with you this weekend, we're going to leave you with hope and excitement, encouragement that even if we don't get through it all, because I keep talking, we'll get it next time. Here's Nick. Go.